Peace. Hotep, Uncle Jasanib, Assalamu alaikum. What it do, young black people? Hopefully everyone's had a wonderful day. Hopefully everyone had an excellent, very fun-filled, educational weekend. And y'all are ready to get back at it. Keep in mind, demonstrations are coming due. All these assignments are going to be going on. It's going to be great, right? It's an exciting time. So, what we're going to do today, I'm going to try to jump right into it because I want to leave some time at the end of class to actually do some work during class and not just be watching these videos. But so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the second installment or second video of the Python Basics course by none other than T-Pain, but not the rapper, Trevor Payne. And we're going to look at that second video. Also, real quick, there are going to be assignments due this week. There was one due last week. Hopefully you all saw it. There will be several this week. Easy A's for those who have been following along. Maybe not so easy for those of you trying to catch up, but definitely opportunities for many good grades. Many good grades. So many good grades to be had coming up. So this week, like I said, there are going to be assignments on the video. There'll be video questions. Then there'll be assignments that have questions that are for the modules. Where we go? See those modules there? Can't see my boundary. Anyway. It'll be for basic concepts and control structures, and then there might be a little something with the functions and modules before we jump down into exceptions and files and more types. So keep that in mind. There will be an assignment or two. We'll see how it goes. That will be going over those first two, possibly the third module. Review for most of us, and maybe not review for some of us. But either way, it'll be an opportunity for you all to get some easy 100s in there to kind of help supplement that grade, get that grade up there, and alongside the demonstration you all will be doing. And I don't know, did I do a demonstration video for you all? I don't think I did. So I will try to do that this week as well. So you will all have a demonstration video, basically kind of detailing how to do a proper demonstration. I think at least one student has turned in their demonstration already, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to introduce to some and reintroduce to others none other than T-Pain teaching Python basics class. Trevor Payne is going to be talking about strings, lists, tuples, and dictionaries. Very, very, very good information. Pay attention. Get locked in. Let's get it. Let me go back to the beginning. Bam. Bam.
Hello, I'm T-Pain, and welcome to another Let's Learn Python. Thanks so much for joining me. If you feel like skipping ahead to any one of the chapters above, or even the examples, feel free to click into the buttons. Okay, so let's get started right away. Again, we're using Python 2.7.3. Open up idle in your window and follow along with me to get the most out of this exercise. Alright, so I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, so the focus today is on more data types and data structures. So we're going to be going over strings, tuples, lists, and dictionaries. So strings are really just a whole bunch of characters. They could be letters of the alphabet, numbers. They could be characters like exclamation point or the ampersand sign. Okay, so strings are declared using quotation marks. So type in X equals single quotation, ham, end single quotation. Enter. And Python's accepted it, then type X again, and you'll see ham is spelled out in single quotation marks. You can also declare them with double quotation marks. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. Ham sandwich, X equals ham sandwich, in double quotation marks. Enter. X, enter. And again, notice that it spits out single quotation marks as well. Python is very smart in that it can accept both single and double quotations. It's merely a matter of preference. A lot of C programmers will tell you to use double quotations. It really doesn't matter. They typically use double quotations for any like full strings, and then single quotations for actual characters like H or C or 5 or whatever it may be. Okay? All right. So strings work very much like the integers in that you can add them together. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say y equals x plus quotations. Let's type book. Okay. Enter. Now type y. Enter. And now notice what it does. Ham sandwich book is all one word, all in a single string. And the only reason it didn't include a space in there is because I didn't type one in there. So we'll go ahead and try that again. Y equals x plus space book. I know this doesn't make any sense, but let's go ahead and try it. Ham sandwich book. So notice the space actually occurs in here. So you have to be explicit in what you're adding together in two strings. If you want a space in there, you have to declare it. All right, great work. All right, so you can already see just a lot of power that Python has with strings and being able to combine it with different strings to combine even or to make even bigger strings. So we can also do this with variables. So I'm going to type z equals 10. Enter. And then I'm going to type y equals x plus z. Type that in and watch for the error that comes out. Okay, it'll say traceback cannot concatenate string and int objects. So if you want to convert an integer or a float value or whatever it may be into a string value, all you have to do is type this really simple command, this function called str. So we're going to type in y equals x plus str z. And what this str does is it converts it to a string value. All right, type enter. It's accepted. Now type y again. Boom, ham sandwich 10. So that's a great way of combining your strings with other variables. All right, so combining strings with variable types like integers or floats, the string function works pretty well. But there's other things we can do inside of that. So let's try, I'm going to introduce you to another thing you can do. If you type y equals, type something, and then space, %d, end quotation marks. And then I want you to type a space, and then type another %sign, and then type z. Now watch what happens. What's going to happen is this percentage sign is saying, hey, replace whatever's in here with what is going to be after the quotation marks with a second parentheses. So it's saying, hey, insert this integer in this location. D represents integers, F represents floats. So D, I don't know why, it just does represent integers. Type in enter, and then type y again. It says something 10. See, it worked perfectly. So if we wanted to, we can also type F. So we're going to go ahead and type y equals %something, %f, in quotations, %z. Enter. And now, y. And look at what happened. It converted that integer, z, into a float value in here. But it threw on a lot of extra zeros. So let's say we want to actually get rid of those zeros. There's a great command that you can do. It's kind of a sneaky way of controlling how many zeros and how many integers, or not integers, but values are contained within and after the decimal point. So what we're going to type is y equals quotations something, again, because I can't think of anything else to type, %sign, and here is where we're going to type in the special command. So we're going to type .3 or .3 and then the F in quotation marks, space, %sign, Z. Now watch what happens. Enter. And then Y, enter. And now notice that it's created a float value out of the integer value Z and only had 3 decimal points or 3 zeros after the decimal point. There you go. So it converted it to a float and added 3 extra digits. So now I'm going to convert Z to a full float value with a whole bunch of characters. So I'm going to type 1 point and then a whole bunch of numbers. Enter. Okay? And now we're going to try that last command that we did again with y equals something %, 0.3f in quotation marks, %, z, enter. And then type y again. So it rounded from 6.54, etc., to 6.55. So it rounded it. So that's some of the control that you have when putting variables or converting variables into strings. Okay, so the next useful command to learn is \n, and that backslash is right above the enter key on your keyboard. So what we're going to do is type x equals double quotations te \n st in quotations. Enter. Now what's going to happen is x is going to be spit out just as is. So type in x, enter. Now, when you're actually programming modules, you're going to use a debugging tool called print. It's just a simple function. Just type print and then whatever you want to print out. And so for me, I'm going to type x. Now watch what happens when I do this. So it actually, the \n is a way of saying new line. So what it'll do is it'll just basically press enter every time it comes across that specific combination of characters. So \n is enter, and then it types enter again, and then it says st. So test is what we're going for. Perfect. So if we just typed in test with print, notice that it won't actually happen. Enter, test. It prints it out as you'd expect it to. No quotation marks are included or anything. It's merely spitting out exactly the strings that is being fed. That's the print function for you. Very, very useful. We'll be using that a lot later on. So next we're going to be learning about the /t or tab inside a string. So we're going to type in x equals double quotations te test. Actually, let's type test. Test \t and then another test. In quotation marks, enter, and then type print x, enter. And now notice what happens. Test is actually separated by the tab function according to how many times it was typed in. So it jumps forward 2 different times. So \n and \t are 2 extremely useful character combinations that I use a lot when using strings. So next we're going to be learning about the keyword in, which is used for conditionals that we're going to be learning about in another episode. So how you use that is just type quotation marks, whatever you're checking for. So we're going to check for ham, space, and the ham was in quotation marks, in, which is not in quotation marks, and then ham sandwich in quotation marks. Sandwich! And now it's going to return true or false, depending on if ham is in ham sandwich, which we know to be true. And there it is, true. So in can be used, it's checking for is something in something else. So we could type in a in ham. True. And there you go. It works just the way you think it would. And there's a couple other keywords that we'll be learning about later on. So think of lists like grocery lists. At a grocery store, you can purchase whatever you want. You can buy milk, bread.
I am pausing it right there, and I'm going to jump ahead just a few seconds because he makes a reference, Mr. T-Pain, sounding like a rapper, makes a reference that I did not appreciate. So I'm going to jump ahead just a few seconds, and we shall continue.
So the list is the exact same. It can control or have just about any variable type we want inside of it, including some of your own that you've created with classes. So we'll get into classes in another lesson, but let's go ahead and just create a list. So x equals, and then open close bracket, not squiggly bracket, just regular bracket. Enter, and then type x again, and it'll spit out that list. So that's the way you declare a list. So let's go ahead and put something inside there. X is equal to, and then we'll type ham in quotation marks, and then 4, and let's throw in a 2.2, and then close the brackets. Enter, and it accepts it. Type in X again, and it spits out exactly what we have in this list. So this is a way of containing a list of whatever values you'd like. Now, you may be asking, okay, I have a list, but how do I add to it? Simple. All you do is type in whatever the list name is, and then type dot append, and then whatever you want to add to it. So say I want to add 5, or yeah, there you go, 5. So type in x dot append, parentheses, 5, enter, and then type x again. And now you can see that it's added it right into the list. Say you want to insert a value somewhere in there. How do we insert a value? X dot insert, parentheses, and then wherever you want to include it. So I want to say I want to include it right after the second object. So type 1, and then I'm going to type include a 3.1415. If I can type it, there we go. Enter, and it accepted it. X, boom, it inserted it at the second location. Boom, done. All right, great job. So now let's say that you want to remove something from this list. So the way you do that is actually with a function called pop. So type in x.pop, and let's pop off the first value that we didn't like, the pi. Nobody likes pi. And what it does is it'll actually return the value. So if you want to store it in a variable, very, very useful. You've got a way of inserting and now pulling from that list. And if you type x again, it'll spit out the exact list without that value, and it'll shorten it. So there you go. All right, great work. So another useful function that you should know about is really short, len, open close parentheses. And what it is it's checking for the length of a list, or a length of whatever's being fed in. So if you wanted to feed in a whole string of characters, like I could type in words, and it's a way of checking for the length of whatever it is. Since a string is a string of characters, it'll check for how many characters are inside. So it works the exact same for a list. So if we type lang and then x, close parentheses, enter, it says, hey, you have 4 items within your list. This is extremely useful for when you're doing loops and stuff, and you want to know how many times to iterate through a list. Alright, great. So just like you could convert a integer or a float into a string, you can also convert stuff into a list form. Alright, so to use the list function, type in list, open parentheses, and then quotation marks, and then type in ham, and then in quotation marks and parentheses, enter. And now notice that it'll split it up based on each character of the string. And now if you wanted to add in a whole string, the way you do that is you type, let's go ahead and create a list, y equals, open close parentheses, just to create one. And now we're going to go y dot append, and we're going to add in ham as the word, enter, now type y, and it's added in the whole word itself, rather than breaking it up by a string. Perfect. And now to double back on a point that we made earlier about checking if something was in something else, we're gonna, like, you could type in, let's see, s in something, enter, and it would return a boolean. You can also check if something's within a list, and that's really easy, just the way you think it would be. So I'm gonna type if s is in y, the new list that we created, enter. And it's saying, no, there is no value of s within the list y, which only has ham. So there is no s in ham, I'm sorry. Okay, so that's very useful to know for later on down the road. The next guy I want to teach you about is tuples. Think of tuples as grocery lists, but they have a no-return policy. In other words, they cannot be adjusted. Once they are created, they're pretty fixed. So how do we declare them? Just like you'd create a list, x equals, but instead of using brackets, use parentheses. And it's a way of like setting it in stone. So I'm going to type in ham and 4
because
and
you're
5.
making yourself
Close
worthy
parentheses, enter.
of
And
hell.
if you type X again, you'll see
Just
that it actually
remember,
spits
black
out
leaders,
that tuple.
what is
So
going on in
there are no
South
functions
Africa.
for like adding and removing.
Your brothers
So the
in South
upsides of a
Africa
tuple are it's
are
much more
trying to get
efficient
to the real
in terms
oppressor,
of memory, and it's
but they're killing
much
the
cleaner.
buffer
And if you were to hand this off to
to
somebody
get
else, it
to
means
the
they can't really
oppressor.
adjust it.
And you know who the buffer
Meanwhile,
is?
you don't have the flexibility of a
It's
list.
these
You can't add,
privileged
remove, or
Negroes
adjust stuff around. It's just set in stone. Personally, I don't use tuples very much, like at all, because of the lack of flexibility, but they're very useful to know about in your very useful tool for your toolkit. Alright, so next we're going to dive into dictionaries, and dictionaries are a way of finding a key to a value, much like a phone book or an address book. You have a name, and then you have a phone number that is bound to that name, and these things are paired together. So dictionaries have a number of other names like hash tables and maps. You'll hear them thrown around, but they're all the same thing. Alright, so a way that you can actually use dictionaries is for, let's say, attributes of a character. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and create this character, Sam, and make it a dictionary equal to, to make it a dictionary, you just open and close squiggly brackets. Enter. Okay, so now we've created it, and now to add to it, we're going to type in Sam, and then straight bracket. So we're going to type quotation marks, weapon, close quotation marks, close parentheses, or bracket, equal to a chainsaw.
At the insistence of your open enemy.
Enter. Okay, and now we're going to add an attribute for health. So we're going to type in Sam, straight bracket, health, in quotation marks, close bracket, equal to, let's give it 10. Enter. And now we've created a dictionary with items inside. So type Sam, enter, and now you can see we've created the weapon, and he has a chainsaw. And now he has health of 10. So right now we've got like a way of storing his information within a place that's based on keywords and values. So this is very, very useful. And I really need to emphasize that it can hold way more than just integers or strings. It can hold class instances like for different stuff you have. So if you have an attribute for his actual weapons, you can place this string chainsaw with an actual instance of what it is, what it does, what its capabilities are, whatever it may be, right there within the dictionary. So we've created values and we've assigned them. How do we actually retrieve them? Just the way you think you would. Sam, bracket, and then type in whatever it is that is the keyword that you're looking for. So I'm looking for the weapon. What weapon does he have again? Enter. Boom. It spits it out. Chainsaw. There you go. So the way of indexing what he has is by typing it in straight into the brackets, and it'll spit back out. And so you can assign using the brackets and the equal sign. You can reassign using that, and you can also retrieve using just the brackets. Alright, so we've retrieved items from the dictionary. Now how do we remove items from the dictionary? And now I personally never used this ever, but you can type in DEL space the name of the dictionary and the item. So let's say he doesn't have any more health. So delete health, enter, type Sam, and now it has successfully removed that property, that attribute. And there you go. So you've removed an item from the dictionary. Alright guys, great job today. Here's a few more problems I want you to work through. You're going to get a lot more out of this if you try to wrap your brain around what they are, what they do. They have a lot of great concepts in them. And let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help out. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or concerns. Share this with anybody you think could really benefit from learning Python. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for joining me.
All right, thank you, Mr. T-Pain. Okay, children, hopefully you all learned a lot from that. You can actually discuss amongst yourselves what you got from that. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the rest of the class time to, you can either go back through and look at that video once again if you like, or you can take the time to work your way through your solo learn Python modules and go from there. The assignments, at least the first assignment for this week, will be up by the end of the day today, so you'll be able to work on that. Anyone who didn't do the assignment from last week can go back and work on that. And I think that's pretty much it. So use the rest of your class time wisely, children, wisely, and go from there. I may have another video for you before the end of class, even today, but we'll see. I did have something else I want you all to take a look at that I thought might help you all with a little more understanding with what we just learned or we've been learning thus far. But we'll see. I may just go ahead and give you the rest of this time to actually work on some things and then try to figure these problems out together. So, all right. Y'all have a wonderful day, and hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or any suggestions about these videos, then let me know, and so I can improve that so that we can improve your, not so much your grades, but your understanding. All right. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace. Uncle Jasaneb. Assalamu alaikum. And I'm forgetting one. I always forget one. But anyway, peace out.